Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and riveting Propagandacast with me, host from Pearl Lane. Master Propaganda off here to another 1v1 again on Pachino. Unfortunately, again, the whole, hotfix mess has really left my overall achievement replays very, very limited. Initially, I thought I could only cast matches with myself, but turns out I can cast matches with other people. That said, I still have an incredibly limited pool of replays, so it's another match on Pachino. I do apologize. Here we got 101st Airborne versus South East Meister Yoon. 90th Panzer Grenadier Division here versus the 1st Infantry Division. But yeah, turns out I can cast some replays, though the dev line still doesn't work, so I cannot turn off the fog or wall. Basically, the hotfix got pushed off next week because, well, they don't want to break things more by just rushing out another hotfix. Can't blame them for that, so... We are off here, though. Panzer Pioneer, Panzer Grenadier here for 101st Airborne. No summer battle group yet here. Panzer Pioneer pushing into the centre. As always, a big hearty thanks to my patron supporters and their continued generous support of the Propagandacast, in particular in these times that are definitely filled with a lot of challenges for the Propagandacast, be it either for YouTube or issues with patches. So, but still, this should be the last one under the, I would say, old management. July patch, I think, should be under new direction with a multiplayer pivot, so hopefully things should still improve from there. Anyways, Panzer Pioneer squad here, first shots fired, can't take cases M1 Garands. You can see 101st Airborne trying to mess with Meister Yoon's sort of fuel here. That set more infantry is pouring in. Of course, you could argue 200 manpower occupying about 520 manpower isn't like half bad here for the Germans. Panzers, they're based on the edges of the map here, pushing forwards versus Fatherland. Got the rifle pushing forwards. Panzer Pioneer here, slowly falling back here, just tactically withdrawing, but not a full retreat. That said, I don't think 101st Airborne can really maintain this engagement for much longer. His men are definitely in a bit of a tough spot. In the southeast, scouts find Panzer Grenadiers and are forced to withdraw here, as they definitely lack the firepower and the numbers to really overcome like 5 Panzer Grenadier. Panzer Pioneer, though, being steadily overwhelmed by the riflemen. Third squad of Panzer Grenadier here for 101st Airborne need to treat this Panzer Pioneer. Pretty risky, honestly, here by 101st Airborne. I mean, both squad members left in the squad alone health here. And now Master Yoon here is definitely looking to turn the tables on the 101st Airborne. I do apologize for casting another match with him so soon as well, but again, incredibly limited replay pool. From what I can tell, it's something that just like, how the replays headers or something like that work. And it's just causing a lot of issues, so... I have very limited options at the moment here, and I have to use whatever I can to avoid just casting me all the time, which has basically been the alternative. So Panzer's Rifle Squad here, heavy fighting here, just all about and forth here, more troops being poured into this fight here, an absolute meat grinder. That said, the riflemen are being bled out here, and there's a chance that 101st Airborne might get a hit on this one over Meister Yoon. It's going to be a close one. Panzer Pioneer pulling forward. We do have a flamethrower on the way. The Flamethrower 35. Rifle Squad almost wiped up, but so are the Panzer Grenadiers. This is just... so many men have died just to grab this fuel point by now. Meanwhile, more territory being grabbed here. We got the Light Support Company up here for 101st Airborne. Flamethrower arriving, and I think with that, the fight here should very much be in the hands of the 101st Airborne, the 90th Panzer Grenadier Division, 3rd Panzer Grenadier Company. Though it is certainly going to be a rather intense one. Meanwhile, scouts are grabbing points, steadily advancing for freedom, democracy, and liberty. Enforcing here, we got the ambulance there for 101st Airborne, certainly very necessary. Got the fuel point outside his opponent's base. And now the rifle squad pushing forward, so that is a total of 4 rifle squads here, I believe, from Meister Yoon. That's definitely not too shabby. There you go, ambulance out. Panzer's there in need of some healing, though thankfully for 101st Airborne, it's really only Otto that's in need of healing. The rest are probably just fresh replacements, so obviously they don't need healing. And another push for the fuel point here. Meister Yoon, of course, looking to engage as much as possible. Got Panzer's Rifle Squad here. Full health versus almost half health. It should be a win here for 101st Airborne. Of course, going to the building certainly skews there. And we got more infantry arriving. They're tilting the engagement in the favor of the Americans. Freedom! Liberty! Panzer Pioneer being rushed forwards again. Panzer moving in here. Popping into the nearby building. A lot of house combat here. Rifle Squad, they're being bled out. But the Panzer guns there, we got the Flamethrower arriving again. And that's going to make things a bit more nasty for the Riflemen. You can see there, Meister Yoon forced to withdraw here in the face of some rather determined German aggression. Back here, ambulance holding up. Nothing further at 101st Airborne. We shall of course see what he goes for. Could be fire support elements of flak feeling. Could be assault grenadiers, Maschinengewehren. Also in the ultimate options. 101st Airborne striking at the fuel point. Knowing that of course to hit the Americans on the fuel is to hit them where it hurts. See the attempt to get at the fuel point here as well, and the munitions point there. It's a lot of back and forth here, a lot of harassment, a lot of aggressive maneuvering here. Thumbs up to that. Always nice to see. Panzer peering up with the Flamethrower. Fun fact about Flamethrower operators, they were typically singled out very quickly as targets, and crucially, if they surrendered, they typically were taken aside and shot. There was basically Flamethrower operators and snipers were universally loved on all sides, and so typically would be dealt with that way. We got early bars here for Meister Yoon now. 6 minutes or so. Lives, of course, go much harder against the Panzer. They've got veterans one here still. With a bars going out there for Meister Yoon. The situation for 101st Airborne definitely gets a lot more uncomfortable. We do have a Panzer go out here in case, of course, fast light vehicles, though with the bars out, that's probably not happening. This is probably where assault grenadiers would help, but he was obviously, you know, going for the Panzerjägers first in case of, say, you know, boom, fast ground. If he hadn't gone that and this point had gone for Greyhound, 101st Airborne would definitely have been having a very bad time. Rather than bleeding out against the lighter Schützen Panzerwagens 250, typically part of the Panzer Division's Armored Reconnaissance Unit, but they typically used to support the armored cars. On paper, though, in reality, a lot of the time, they're just used as another armored infantry unit. Fun fact. As an additional fun fact, they were actually organised in a way where they'd had 2 250 half-techs per squad, whereas, of course, with a 250 and half, there's like 1 half-tech per squad. Half-tech, they got knocked out here. Good kill there for Meister Yoon. We also got the captain out, so in this regard, fairly conventional build here from Meister Yoon. No air support centre here, which has always become a fair bit more popular after the changes there with the update in June. North here, 2 Panzers pushing forwards. Meister Yoon's men here caught very much extended. And we'll have to withdraw here in the face of this German fist of steel and sinew, or mostly sinew. Meanwhile, mechanized company here from 101st Airborne, perhaps an Achtrad, perhaps a Marder, Stug D, I suppose you could also surprise us with the reconnaissance tractor. Straight for the fuel point again. No battle group yet here though from 101st Airborne. At this point, I suspect it's not Italian infantry. Could be combined arms. You could, for example, go for Breda light machine guns right now, which honestly I think would be quite good. Like suddenly getting his own light machines going here versus the Americans could help him out a bit there. He could of course also be planning armoured support. Could also be a viable option here for 101st Airborne. We'll have to see what exactly the game plan is here though, from the Germans. North here, though, he's just trying to get back as much territory as he can here from the Americans. Meister Yoon definitely very aggressive with his pushes there, which of course is a very good skill to have. Thumbs up to that, of course. But Rifleman pushing forwards there. Sergeant Cartwright leads his men forwards through Nazi-occupied streets. In the south here, Panzer grenades for the enemy fed force rifle squad. We do get a pineapple grenade off here. Quickly dodged out. And we got airborne here, so from Meister Yoon, 82nd Airborne supporting the 1st Infantry. There's definitely been an increase, I think, in airborne overall. I think in part, there's people like, getting a bit tired of armored maybe. But I think also like the changes like, how aircraft works makes airborne a bit more attractive again. You got the bombing run, but you also got the rocket run, which obviously benefited somewhat from these changes, so. But I suspect it's also just like a search for like more ways to play the Americans that has led to a resurgence of airborne again, as overall, while it did get a bit nerfed, it's honestly not that bad. So, thumbs up to Meister Yoon. And any other player there, we got the Panzer Peony moving up. We got armor support here, the veteran gunners. Could go for Flampanzer here, I mean, Meister Yoon, I think, may not be prepared for that considering the bar play here. You see, we also don't see a flamethrower tank there very often, so could be an option to consider for him, and there you go. You do in fact get the Flampanzer fleet out of 101st Airborne. Moving forwards here. And that looks to be a paratrooper squad here, or I don't know, anti-tank gun squad? Oh, anti-tank gun team there. Don't think he's going to airdrop that up there. That'd be patently strange there from. There you go. Flampanzer is going to catch the paratroops right as they drop down. And the paratroops are getting what you call a very warm welcome. LC is hot. I repeat, LC is incredibly hot. In fact, Bob just got burned to a crisp. Captain pushed back there by the Flampanzer. Definitely not a tank you see a lot. Not today because I think the Flampanzer 3 is bad, but it's just like typically you're looking to call in something else as the Wehrmacht or the DAK rather than the Flampanzer 3. Like you're typically going for art or something else, but you know, Flampanzer 3 definitely has some applications there, in particular for the more enterprising and aggressive players. Yoon, though, keeps up pressure here, using, I believe, the Pathfinder, some very aggressive harassment cut-off point play there. Thumbs up. Routes being met by the Flampanzer 3. Panzer Pioneer almost by getting wiped out. That'd be a pretty good wipe here for Meister Yoon, and certainly a bit of blow here to 101st Airborne. Yup, gets the wipe. Great kill here. Removes easily the best source of repairs here for the Germans. Of course, the other troops can repair, but they're not very good at it. Pathfinders here, though, finding a direct path to hell as they get met with a Flampanzer 3. Taking a lot of damage. Meister Yoon, I think, pushes luck here too far. And there's a good chance of wipe here, which will certainly hurt Yoon a bit in terms of like just disruption and map control here. But I think won't quite have the same impact on Meister Yoon, of course, losing the Panzer Pioneer has on the 101st Airborne. So, and there you go. You actually hit the two cutoff points here. Cutting off the fuel point there. Thumbs up to Meister Yoon. We got the Flampanzer flaming up here. Not going here, probably saw the anti-tank, and obviously doesn't wish to rush his Flamethrower tank right into an anti-tank. Captain there spotted, thought he was hiding. Turns out he wasn't. And we got a mechanized assault group out here now for the 101st Airborne. More mechanized troops out there for the Germans. So again, the Germans didn't call them mechanized troops, they call them armored troops, or gepanzerte Panzergrenadiere. Fun fact. Panzerjägers here spotted the rifle squad. Sorry about that. Damage engine here. Flampanzer catch the rifleman. Efficiency 2. I mean, if 101st Airborne could score a wipe on this, that would obviously be very beneficial for him. And he lost the Panzerjägers. We also got purged with the bazookas. That's a good kill there for Meister Yoon. It's not just Panzer Pioneer, it's the Panzerjägers. And in comparison, 101st Airborne's really just killed the Pathfinders, plus Meister Yoon's able to, like, again, very effectively harass 101st Airborne's fuel income.
We do not hold any victory points.
Some really good sort of mobile play there by 101st Airborne, despite lacking any vehicles to really effectuate it. But we got that Flampanzer 3 and those Panzers striking at the Rifle Squad here by the fuel point. Got the assaulters being forward here. A Rifle Squad, they're definitely being burned up, taking a lot of damage with the Flampanzer 3. Second Rifle Squad's about to feel the wrath of the Deutschland here. Good breach here, Aspar, and the assault gun is the breach ability is 3 no goes for grenade assault, hoping to catch them there on the retreat. Oh, but not bad. That's it. That's Parrots managed to mostly dodge it. Right here, though, for Meister Yoon, things are getting a bit awkward here. The intent could be caught here, and maybe even like seized by 101st Airborne, turned against Meister Yoon. That would be great for 101st Airborne, and obviously similarly awful here for Meister Yoon. But no, it looks like the anti-tank. He gets it. One option you could actually do now, right? Actually grab the ambulance. He's actually know to got the handbrake enabled, so it doesn't like get caught up in some movement orders. Little tip there, but you could try and, you know, remove the handbrakes, rush you down here, and then try and haul off the anti-tank. And admittedly, there is me on the rifle squad. Like, has Meister Yoon forgot about the riflemen? They just, oh dear, almost had them white there. Brutal. Veterans 1 in the Flampanzer 3, 7 kills. It is just doing immense amounts of damage here to Meister Yoon. He charges his men into it. That must have been a misclick here, a brain fart, and actually cost him a rifle squad. That said, it does look like 101st Airborne cannot get his hands on the anti-tank gun, and he certainly cannot destroy it. So it may not be all bad here for Meister Yoon, but that was certainly not great for him either. We might see another wipe here. 2 rival squads wiped in a matter of moments would be devastating here for Meister Yoon and the 1st Infantry down to so little health here. No, it looks like they do get away. Close shave there for Meister Yoon. Very close. We also got veteran squadrons up here for 101st Airborne. Pushing them up to 6-man status. For the Panzer guns, the assault gunners do not get 6 sky, but they still benefit from fast experience gain and just, being a bit harder to hit. Cancels a Panzer Army command and goes for a command Panzer IV. Interesting choice here by 101st Airborne. Not entirely sure I agree with that. I feel like pushing for Panzer IVs might have better long-term applications, of course. There's certainly the shock element of the command tank. On the other hand, it, as a command tank, you kind of want tanks for it to command. And I think that's sort of where there might be a slight issue if on the 1st Airborne. He's only got the Flampanzer III to really work with it. So I do think he should have gone for the Panzer Main command first and then push for Panzer IIIs. Then he'd also follow up with the command tank. And we got air recons here from Meister Yoon. Flampanzer rushing up forwards once more here. Enemy caught in the middle of the bridge. Burning through the crew there. Flampanzer III continues to do what it does best, which of course is utterly incinerate Americans. Jürgen, isn't this a Warheim? Don't worry, Arthur. It's only a Warheim if you lose the war. Yeah, if you lose the war. Is that never gonna happen, yeah? Command tank rushing up to the center. Backed up that Flampanzer III. Halfway to veteran T2. Oh boy. You don't typically see a lot of Flampanzer IIIs, but as you can see, they can definitely do some work in the right hands. And then we got... Oh, there's a rocket run, I think, here from him. And he actually moves the Flampanzer III into the line of fire. Directly in there. Initial building up. First volley hit, absorbed by the building, but the second volley, though, of course, once the buildings collapse, clears out the Flampanzer III, costing the 101st Airborne his Flamethrower tank, leaving his command tank without anything to command. Great kill there, though, for Meister Yoon. That Flamethrower tank was definitely starting to cause some issues. Also, a good bit of maneuvering here by 101st Airborne. One critique here that I think 101st Airborne is he's not been able to control the victory points very well here. He's got 194 versus 464, so in this regard, he's definitely falling behind Meister Yoon rather aggressively. And that's definitely something, he should be more mindful of. Rushing in with the assault gunners, MP40s slashing through the anti-tank crews that, of course, are defenseless, as they have to hold the anti-tank gun. Panzerman to assist here, occupying the church. And there go grenades being chucked out, quickly withdrawing here. Building is about to collapse, more grenades here, and the church collapses. No units inside of it. Sensible move there, Meister Yoon, not to send any of his men in there. But it does mean that Town Center is being helped by men of the 1st Infantry Division here, and the 90th Panzer Grenadier Division goes for another mechanized assault group, and I actually think he went for another Panzer Army command to only cancel that again to call this in. I feel like he's delaying this perhaps a bit too much by now. Again, I wouldn't recommend delaying that at all, but particularly by now, it is starting to feel like he is delaying things fairly much. It does mean he's up to 2 assault grenadier squads to back up his 2 panzer grenadiers. Obviously not bad either, but say at this point, Meister Yoon we've seen no light vehicles from. Goes for Sherman tank. Then 101st Airborne is going to be in a bit of a tough spot. He's going to have to go for Marders, which of course control the anti-tank guns will certainly not be those risks either. And unfortunately hasn't been able to grab any anti-tank guns from Meister Yoon. So yeah, that sounds like a Sherman tank on the way here from Meister Yoon here. Could also be a Hellcat or the 105mm Sherman. There we go. Good old Sherman there, the M4A1. Anti-tanks bring up, that Panzer guns being mauled here in the town centre. Command tank trying to flank the Sherman. In the centre, the Panzer guns there are being absolutely pulverised here by the Americans. Command tank being pushed back as well. They're lacking any direct way of dealing with the anti-tank gun and the Sherman at the same time. 101st Airborne really, I think, makes the decision he realistically can, which is get his command tank out of there before the only place he's going to command is from the grave. Yep, that does mean Armada here from 101st Airborne, lacking any other real means of threatening the Sherman. He's going to have to go for Armada here, because he can't easily go for, you know, a Panzer III or a bunch of Panzer IIIs, because he kept delaying his Panzer Army command. Command tank so far really hasn't done much of 101st Airborne, and it certainly is feeling a bit like a suboptimal choice here. At least current timing. I think, again, hey, going for those Panzer III first and but the command tank, he'd been in a bit better state. But anyways, enough about that though. He's obviously far from out of the fight here. His men are doing a lot of damage. His assault grenadiers in particular should not be taking lightning, particularly remembers to pop tactical assault here. Doesn't, but the riflemen are forced to vacate the premises. Second assault moving in here. Definitely like the assault grenadiers myself. Very nice unit, in particular with the combined arms, they say pop tactical assault. They can get off a large amount of damage and overwhelm a fair amount of infantry. I also like the voice actor. Anyways, assault grenadiers, the paratroopers, not been great for them. With the bazookas, they are definitely lacking the necessary means to overcome 5 MP40 wielding assault grenadiers. Sherman rushing in here. Backed up a rifleman. Fighting continues for the center here quite fiercely. Marder being pushed back alongside the command tank. And here, of course, we see a bit of an issue for 101st Airborne. The Panzer Pioneer being wiped means he has no easy and efficient ways of repairing his tanks when he's going to, like, spend actual combat troops to do that. And they're going to, like, still not be efficient at it, so it's going to take him still a fair amount of time to repair his stuff there. So this is sort of like, again, like, you know, where the loss of the Panzer Pioneer really is sort of a long-term, a bit of a win here for Meister Yoon, because of 101st Airborne's lack of replacements for them. Again, stinking about here, ground points there, very good. Obviously not all bad for 101st Airborne, but issues are, shall I say, starting to creep up a bit. We also, of course, got vehicle awareness, doing things with the map. What were they? Probably should be an activated ability rather than a passive. Rather than push more to the assault grenadiers. North here, Route Squad tank to the punch guns here. No veterans there versus veteran 2. And that's going to be a treat here. Very wise decision there by 101st Airborne versus Meister Yoon. The field Panzerkampfwagen moving up to this tier. Wasn't too uncommon for older tanks to be used as command tanks, though a lot of the times they'll also be used in training units. As you know, training tanks and vehicles there. Ralph goes the assault grenadiers. Yeah, that's going to be a treat. We also got the Sherman slowly moving down the streets there, or the roads. Further up north here, Panzers continue to beat the riflemen slowly but surely. BARs versus MG34. Down to 2 men in the BAR wielding rifleman squad there. Almost getting wiped here. There you go. The anti-tank to the rescue here. Also got the bazookas at further support, but Ralph Squad gets wiped out. Another blow there to Meister Yoon. Meanwhile, looks like to be another rocket run here from Yoon. Yes, indeed. Ralph Squad there closing around anti-tank and actually exposed here. Command tank there, hauled out of there, heavily damaged. Panzers they've been bombarded by the Sherman. 250 half-tech just doing something, and the Marder is in dire repairs. We do finally get the Panzer Army command out of 101st Airborne, but certainly feels like this could have been out sooner for him. 142 versus 401. There's an additional fun side note on the BAR. They were actually looking to replace it for something that was, you know, overall light and easier to make. That would have been known as the Winchester Automatic Rifle of War. That's a sort of fun one there, but by the time they sort of like got around to, like, you know, actually like getting into production, the war was more or less over. But so there's sort of like a fun element there. And it does highlight, you know, one thing that happened throughout the war with most armies was they're looking to, like, you know, expedite production of, like, you know, their main arms and simplify it. Soldiers pushed back here for the Rifle Squad. Paratroopers was pushed back. Marder they need repairs again. The lack of Panzer Pioneer, I feel like, is really restricting the 101st Airborne at this point. Significantly. And we got all fixed under control of the 1st Infantry Division here.
Confirmed. We have 100 points remaining.
100 points left here for 101st Airborne. 97, 94. Definitely looking a bit rough here for the German army. The 90th Panzer Grenadier Division. 279. Marder on the move again. 70 points left. Really looking rough here for 101st Airborne. Going for that southern field point here with the Panzergrenadiere. Sehr gut. Heading northwards with the Assault Grenadiers. They're halfway to the east level. South here, counterattack with the Americans. 2 squads committed, sprinting in there. We got grenades off. Quick tree there, 49 left. Really looking tough here for 101st Airborne, 43. Grenade assault, we got coming up with an anti-tank rifle. Looks like the 101st Airborne and the 90th Panzergrenadier launches a thrust here into the town centre here. Engineers to laying down mines and are immediately wiped out. Minor blow here to Meister Yoon. He's still got a lot of victory points left. Up north here, the Assault Grenadiers are definitely doing their best to fight to the last man here, close to the ace level here. And we got the Loiter here, which, by the way, is one of the reasons there is a hotfix coming, because it's way too good. As you can see there, it pretty much vaporizes any tank. Basically, what happened is somehow they accidentally end up using the older stats for the Loiter, which are way too high. So combined with the other changes, it just means, like, you know, German tanks and any, like, basic tank caught by it just explodes. So that's in part what we're waiting to get hotfix as well next week. Not just replays, but, you know, the Stuka anti-tank Loiter being absolutely broken. I certainly hope no one will, you know, abuse it. I'm guessing at this point that with only 6 points left, 101st Airborne is just desperate and is going to, like, use it no matter what. But yeah, that's definitely way too good. So for those wondering why they're going to nerf it, or, you know, fix it, basically it's less of a nerf than just a fix because it's not supposed to be this good. That's why. It's just way too good. All victory points almost control the German army. Got 6 points left versus 394. That Loiter there definitely was a big help. We got a Panther here though as well for 101st Airborne. His Martyr though is now a burning wreck here by the roadside. Another Sherman out for Meister Yoon. Of course, with the Stuka tank Loiter and cooled on these notes, he has some time before the next strafing comes in. There you go. Finally got a proper Panther ready here for 101st Airborne and the German army, the Deutsche Panzerwaffe. And by the way, I don't think we got any grenades from him. There you go, Sherman rolling ahead here. Panther engaging, good shot. Also, the veteran Gunners has a bit better chance penetrating. Command tank goes down. Panther though is down to half. Oh, Sherman's down to half over already. Not bad here for 101st Airborne. Of course, I imagine he'd prefer his command Panther 4 not being a wreck. Swinging the Sherman, these doesn't dive in too deeply. There are still anti-tank that's nearby, plus bazooka paratroopers. So one wrong move here, like here for example, could quickly cost them the Panzer III. Yeah, bazooka finds tank on fire. I think there's a good chance to lose the Panzer III. There you go. One anti-tank grenade, and 101st Airborne loses his Panzer III here as well. So great kill there for Meister Yoon. He is holding on, but with 6 points left, it really means that 101st Airborne has next to no margin of error in the face of, like, you know, these sheer numbers. And there you go. Panzergrenadier squad wiped out, and I think that was his ace one as well. So that was a great kill there. There's even an MG-34 left behind here for Meister Yoon to seize. German troops counterattacking up. Panzergrenadier backed up. The Assault Grenadier, especially 2 here. Looks like the A squad's coming from the north here. Tactical sort I think will be pretty handy to pop maybe. And again, we got the Sherman rushing forwards. Heavily damaged, but Meister Yoon clearly does not give a toss. If he can just get these points soon, he can win this match pretty fast here versus 101st Airborne. So Yoon here is basically committing to some risky play. Of course, from our perspective, he knows there's not as big a risk as, you know, he could be facing, but there's certainly an argument he should be careful about rushing in a Sherman like that when he's got, like, over 300 points left. Assault Grenadiers here though. Hard at work. We got 28 kills, but need to treat them now before they get wiped. Like, this town has really seen a lot of casualties, a lot of carnage.
The victory point is being taken from us.
Troops sitting out here, heading for the southern victory point. I imagine he's also going to rush the northern one. He could, like, just stuff someone on a Sherman tank and then rush to the point there. I mean, that's what I'd probably do at this stage as Meister Yoon. So what will 101st Airborne do next besides rushing for those victory points, which in a sense means he really has limited actions, which makes it actually easier for Meister Yoon to counter. We activate our Paratroop squad, dropped right onto the pointy, adding the Brownings. We got 6 points left. 5. 4. Going for the other point, and we got a loiter in the center trying to keep off the Americans. 2. 1, and yeah, that's GG though. So game over here, game over. An absolutely brutal back and forth fight here between Meister Yoon and 101st Airborne here on Pachino Stalemate. Brutal, fierce fight. A lot of back and forth here. 101st Airborne definitely, I think, did well with the Flamethrower tank, but the command tank again just felt like not quite the ideal choice there without, sufficient tanks. I think he also ends up delaying his Panzer main command, and that way Panzer III's too much. Had I think pushed those out sooner, I think he'd also been in a much stronger position versus Meister Yoon. Though, of course, Meister Yoon also deserves credit for some pretty good harassment play, hitting the carve points, sneaking around, just messing with 101st Airborne's map control, making it hard for him to actually build up the fuel necessary for like anything needs. Well played on both sides. And I hope you enjoyed this match. I've learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithms, getting out the video to more people. Or you can also support the Propagandacast by donating our Patreon. Links in the description. This is Imperial Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.